Many people are concerned that if they stop smoking, they'll substitute their cigarettes with food and end up extremely fat. I'm Dr. Arthur Weaver, a cancer surgeon, and today I'm going to give you the principles on how to stop smoking without looking like a beach ball with arms. Don't miss this program. Well, how's it going? First, let me answer a couple of questions that somebody asked me. One of them said, now, I think you suggested I might go on sugarless gum. Now, I read somewhere that saccharin is carcinogenic. If I get rid of cigarettes, what's going to happen if I eat all this saccharin? Well, I wouldn't worry too much about it because you won't be chewing gum probably all the rest of your life. But it's interesting how we look at some things in completely different light than we look at other things. For instance, I remember several years ago, it was Thanksgiving, and they had this scare with the cranberries. Anybody remember that? The cranberry scare at Thanksgiving? Anyhow, I always had some cranberries with my Thanksgiving dinner, so I went to the store and I asked for cranberries. I'd read the report. You know what the report basically showed? It had been one study done on rabbits, and if you translated it into humans, basically if you ate about 2 pounds of cranberries a day for 20 years, you might get this cancer of your thyroid. Yeah, you got it? So I went to the store and I said, do you have any cranberries? I figured I could wash them and clean them up and have them one time, you know? Not 2 pounds, not 20 years, just for Thanksgiving dinner. And the lady looked at me as if I was crazy. She says, don't you know they cause cancer? I said, I haven't ever, I was a cancer surgeon then, you see. I said, I haven't seen anybody dying of cranberry cancer yet. But I said, you're still selling all those cigarettes there. And I see people dying of those all the time. Isn't it interesting? You know, they have this idea that if anything causes cancer, no matter what the dosage is, you know, that saccharin bit, probably 1,000 times the dose that anybody would get from chewing gum. So they put that little warning on there. But it's interesting that they may be getting, in some countries, somebody handed me this tonight. It's sort of interesting. Maybe you saw it in the paper. Cigarettes soon may carry a death message in Sweden. Did anybody see that? Anyhow, they're thinking of putting some little stories on each pack of cigarettes. How would you feel if you got your cigarettes and said something like this? Stefan took his first puff in primary school. At 20, he smoked a package a day. 20 years later, he felt quite healthy, but one afternoon, he suddenly collapsed at work. He died before the day was over. The reason? Heart attack. He was 40 years old. How would you like to have a different story on every pack of cigarettes? That's what they're thinking of doing in Sweden. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I appreciate someone sharing that with me. But it's also interesting, you know, everyone is concerned against air pollution. You heard that, didn't you? What am I going to do about the air in New York, in Michigan? Well, I don't know much about New York air, but I do know something about Michigan air. The 1 pack a day smoker, you got this now, 1 pack a day smoker, gets 600 times the particulate pollution in his lungs that the non-smoker will get from air that meets Michigan clean air standards. The 1 pack a day smoker, get this now, gets 60 times, 60 times the particulate pollution that the non-smoker will get from air, which by law in the state of Michigan, they have to declare a pollution alert and close some factories. The one-pack-a-day smoker gets 60 times that amount. Do you see how different it is for certain industrial things than it is for certain things that people have a habit of smoking and drinking and chewing, you know? We're concerned about war. Nobody wants to go to war, right? We lost 50,000 men, as I remembered, in Vietnam. Bad war. We lose that many in car accidents every year, half associated with alcohol. No one seems to get too upset about it. We lost 125,000 people this year from lung cancer alone, basically associated with smoking. And no one gets, you haven't heard them really getting uptight about that in Congress and having major debates over it, have you? We just kind of accept this kind of mortality. I had to get that off my chest. Appreciate you letting me do that. Well, we need to talk to a couple of people tonight, and my friend that goes around picking people isn't here. He had another obligation. Is there anybody that has something real interesting that's happened to them while they were stopping smoking they're willing to share with us? Just come right up here. Anybody? Come on. Somebody's got something good. All right, then I'm going to pick you out at random. You just make your way up here. I'll take the lady right here, seated by the man in the striped shirt. Walk your way up, and I'll take the gentleman over here in the sweater. Right, you got it. You make your way up, and we'll pick the man from Michigan back here. Says Michigan. He's proudly bragging about his Michigan. And let's see, we'll pick one more lady from the front row, right here. Ha ha. All right, come on up. Hi, what's your name?
Jill Munn.
Jill?
Jill Munn.
Munn. How do you spell Munn?
M-U-N-N.
M-U-N-N. And Jill, have you been here since the start of the program?
Yes, I have.
And how much were you used to smoking?
About a pack.
About a pack a day. Tell me how the program has gone for you in general. Now we're down here, you see, on the 4th day, is it? Without cigarettes?
5th for me.
Yeah, 5th day. Oh, that's good.
Sunday.
And so tell me, just kind of outline it for me. What do you think?
I think it's great. I went and saw my father last night, and I want him to come.
Your father smokes?
Yes.
You think maybe your quitting will help him come?
I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. He worries me.
Now, did you have much trouble?
No. No, I was ready.
He was ready.
I was ready.
Did you go through any symptoms?
Yeah. Well, yesterday was great. Today was hard. This is my 5th day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted one today.
All day long?
Well, no, but I mean, it was stronger than the day before, and I don't know why.
Well, you remember my mountain story?
Yeah.
There's little ups and downs, but you know what? Like I told you the first day, those urges will get lower and lower amplitude and further apart. But if you ever been on a beach, every once in a while, you know, they have all these little ones, and then here comes a big one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, you had the big one.
Yeah.
But you feel good about it?
Well, I feel good that I didn't smoke.
Yeah, and you don't think you're going to go back?
No, I know I'm not going to go back.
What do you think about that? Isn't that great?
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
I love this program.
Good. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Somebody. I call this fella back here, too. No. You got it, yeah. All right, come right on up here. What's your name?
Dan.
Dan, you're not a fan from University of Michigan, are you?
No.
No, wouldn't even think of it.
No.
How much are you smoking, Dan?
Was 2 packs.
2 packs a day. And you've been here since the start of the program?
Yeah, since last Thursday.
You got out here in spite of the weather tonight.
Oh, I couldn't miss it.
I'm downright proud of you. You got up a real sweat. I mean,
Well, the lights, you know. Nervous still, too. Yeah.
a little jittery.
Right.
How'd the program go for you?
A lot better than what I did, you know. when I tried on my own.
You've tried on your own and it didn't work too well?
Hundreds of times, yeah.
But you think the program has worked pretty good?
Oh, yeah, definitely. In fact, I just gave the book and all the information to my sister. She wants to quit, too.
She wants to quit, too. Did you have some real bad days?
Yesterday was the worst, the fourth day.
And today you felt a little better?
Yeah, the only thing different was this morning I woke up with a bloody nose. You know, that was...
Well,
couldn't
lots of
understand that
times
one.
people in this country get bloody nose, in this, you know, where we have the heat.
Right.
A lot of people get bloody nose from dry air. That's the commonest cause. We see a lot of bloody nose in non-smokers and smokers
That's the first
this
time
time
it
of
happened,
weather.
so I was just...
Yeah, I doubt that it had anything to do with your smoking. I think it was just what you call a coincidence.
Could be.
But you feel good about it.
Definitely.
And you think this time you're going to stay off? And
I'm going to give him my best shot, let's put it that way.
what do you think, folks? Aren't you proud of him? I always appreciate those people that sit on the front row. I don't know if any of you folks have done much public speaking, but you always have to have some feedback, you know, to see whether you're getting through or not. And I've watched you every night, and you've acted like you were listening, and I appreciated that.
I was.
How much were you used to smoking before you came here?
Pack and a half or 2 packs per day.
And tell us a little bit about your trials and tribulations.
Well, I was so carried away from sitting in the front row because it felt like you were talking to me.
I was, you know, I was
Yeah,
watching there.
But I mean, none of these other people were here. You were talking to me, you know, sitting there. So I got all carried away, and I thought, I'm not going to wait until Monday. I'm going to do this Friday night. So I did it Friday night.
So you've been off ever since, and isn't that good?
No.
No. Oh, all right. Moment of truth.
I got real nervous Monday night before I came here, so I did a real dumb thing. And I had a couple puffs off of a cigarette. And you're right, I felt worse, I think, after doing that. Then, again, I felt bad again after going through Saturday, which was nightmarish. And then, you know, a little better on Sunday, but not much. And then Monday night, I was starting to feel good, and I blew it. I took that, and I felt worse.
But you've been doing all right since then?
Since I came here Monday night, I've tried, like everybody else, to do this myself, and never had success like I've had this time. And I don't know why, but I think you helped me make up my mind that I'm not going to do this anymore.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Don't you think this was a good idea? That's the clue right there. Did you get it? Made up my mind. And the facts are that I can help facilitate this. But if you stop smoking, you deserve the credit, right? And don't try to share it too much. You did it for yourself, and I'm proud. Hi there. What's your name?
Ed Chaplin.
Ed Chaplin. Ed, have you been here since the start of the program?
Since day one.
Since day one.
Right. And I'm getting my pin tonight.
Oh! Now, I have heard of slow learners, Ed, but let's kind of tell me what you were just waiting to see how long you could hold out before you really got on board, or what happened?
I just wanted to see if you were telling the truth, if one or two would hurt me every day.
And what happened?
And it hurts like heck. So I had nothing today.
And it was better?
Much better. My throat doesn't hurt. Or
Now, where were you getting these one or two?
guys at work, you know. And the one guy today says, I'm not giving you any today. He says, you want a cigarette? Go out and buy him. Yeah.
So, you're feeling pretty good today. What are you gonna do about tomorrow?
Do much better because my kids won't let me smoke and they won't let me go to the store and buy them, you know, so.
Yeah, but now we've got to get it away from the kids and get it down with Ed. Don't you think that's where we really have to
Yeah,
work?
that's true.
I think you're worth quitting smoking for.
I think so. Yeah.
Don't you think so? I'm proud of you.
Okay.
Appreciate you. Come on, just a minute, Ed.
Okay.
All righty. Well, we're going to have maybe a few more of those buttons to give out in just a minute. But let's see, where's my helpers back here? What do they have? They have the envelopes? Is there anybody that didn't get one of these little envelopes that I thought I had everything here? Somewhere I hid behind here. Well, anyhow, the donation envelopes, anyone that wasn't here last night and didn't get an envelope, just raise your hand. Here's one over here. As I explained to you, we run by contributions, but if you give us what your cigarettes cost you for a week, and that's a month, and you've already got a week in, right? Yeah. So that seems fair enough, and that will keep our programs running. And all of those people that you see helping me and myself, we donate our services, so it all goes back into the program. And we're going to talk to you tonight about a lot of other programs that we have that you might be interested in getting into. Okay? Does anybody else needs one of those? You can turn them in tonight. You can turn them in Monday. Just leave them with one of the helpers that you've seen out there every day. And if you need a receipt, you'll get it, or your check can serve as a receipt, and it is tax deductible. All right. All of those who, like Ed, want to get a pin because today they got off for the first time. Would you stand? Oh, yes. Give her a hand back here. Here's another. Oh, yes. Isn't that good? And if you didn't smoke today, raise both hands. Woohoo, look at that, look at that, look at that. Ooh, I wish we had those who got snowed out away, but isn't that good? I'm just so proud of you. You don't know what a pleasure it is to see you succeeding at something that's been on your back and troubled you and bugged you for so long. One lady said to me, I've smoked for 50 years. I thought I'm never going to get off. And now I'm free. Isn't that good? I mean, that's just like letting a hostage loose. Letting a hostage loose. Well, let's do a little talking here. I know that one of the concerns that many people have is that if I stop smoking, I'm going to get fat. Does that concern anybody? I've seen people even go back to smoking because they didn't want to gain the weight. Now, it's a bad trade-off. From a health point of view, listen carefully. To carry the same risk to yourself as smoking 1 pack of cigarettes a day, increased health risk, you'd have to gain a minimum of 80 pounds once you quit smoking. So don't ever say to yourself, I'm going to die of obesity, I might as well go back to smoking. Now, I admit you may not want to look like a blimp and all of that, but don't use the excuse that this is as dangerous as my smoking, because every statistic tells us that that's not so, okay? Now, why do people have a tendency to gain weight once they stop smoking? Well, there's several reasons. You're right, hand to mouth, he says. Well, you're used to putting a cigarette in your mouth, right? And getting some pleasure from it. You don't have cigarettes anymore, so what's the next best substitute? Food. Food. Not only that, but the food tastes better than it ever tasted. Because the sense of taste, along with the sense of smell, and several other sensations are now returning to the smoker. I had one participant say to me one night, you wouldn't believe, it's about this night, 4th night, something like that. He said, you wouldn't believe I had asparagus last night. I thought that was just a green vegetable you ate because it was green. But he said that had the most exotic, esoteric flavors. I'd forgotten that asparagus tasted like anything at all. Isn't that interesting? And now, you see, you're used to putting something in your mouth, you're used to getting pleasure from it, and here you have all this delicious food. You have a second honeymoon with food. I mean, it's really good stuff. All right? There is another reason people tend to gain weight when they stop smoking. Part of it is that their basal metabolic rate tends to slow down. So that while you're sitting around, you're actually using less calories. So that it takes a while for that to get back and readjust itself. In addition to that, it hasn't been well studied, but I believe it's true. I believe one of the big reasons people have a tendency to gain weight once they stop smoking is that their heart is burning many less calories. In general, when a person stops smoking, his blood pressure drops about 10 points. In addition, his heart rate drops about 10 beats a minute. Now, when you consider that your heart is a big muscle and it's pumping hundreds of gallons of blood every day, and now it's slowed down and it's smiling, love-dub, love-dub. Instead of working so hard, it's burning less calories. You see what I'm saying? And therefore, there's a tendency to gain a little weight. Now, it is true that everybody doesn't gain weight. I've seen people even lose weight. And the average person gains somewhere around 5 to 7 pounds once they stop smoking. But let me tell you something. Something that maybe you wouldn't like to hear. But I believe in telling the truth, and then you'll know the truth, and the truth will keep you from making bad mistakes. What I have discovered is that the tendency to gain weight lasts at the most about 6 months. After 6 months, people have a tendency to plateau, and then if they want to work at it, they can lose that weight relatively easily. I suggest that while you're stopping smoking, that should be your emphasis. Okay? Take care of the weight if you have to a little bit later. Okay? But try to avoid putting it all on. How can you do that? Well, don't get a bunch of chocolate-covered nuts and start eating them. Because, give those to me. Because if you keep sticking those things in your mouth, or some soft candies, you know you can just load up tremendously. If you have to have something in your mouth, try some sugarless gum, toothpicks, sugarless candies, or something like that, or some of the lower caloric things, such as carrot sticks and celery sticks and the other stuff you've heard about for diet. Now, I wanted you to understand why the problem, and now I'm going to tell you what you can do about the problem if you don't want to gain weight. All right? Now listen carefully. First of all, let me tell you why. Did you know that people that try to lose weight by diet, there is more recidivism? Do you understand that word? Going back to the same place that you were than there is with any other habit, including smoking, alcoholism, and drugs. People that diet to lose weight, 90% of them will gain that weight back again. And those people who go on repeated diets get fatter and fatter and fatter. And you say, why is that? Now let me explain to you what happens, and then you can avoid making this mistake. So I decide I'm going on a diet. I cut my calories way down to where I'm starting, and there's 1,000 diet books out there. I don't suppose that any publisher made as much money as those people that publish diet books. Dr. So-and-so's diet, Jane Fonda's diet, Uncle Raymond's diet, whoever, everybody's got a diet book, and most of them, the principle is cut calories. If you cut calories, will you lose weight? Yes. The answer is yes. So let's assume that now I decide I want to lose 10 pounds. All right. So I go on this diet. Slim Fast, OptiFast, Who's Fast, MediFast, I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm getting less calories than I'm burning, so I'm losing weight. And the first day, I step on a scale and, whoo, look at that. I lose about 4 pounds. What did I largely lose? Water. You've got it. So I lose water. That's because I'm eating less salt, and I'm also burning up the glycogen. And the glycogen is tied up with water. And the glycogen is my immediate energy source. And as I burn up the glycogen in my muscles and the glycogen in my liver, I'm losing a lot of water. And I'm urinating it right down the pot. And there's no better way to lose weight. And I lose about 4 pounds of water. But I persist. I stick with my diet. And much more slowly now, I notice it's coming down a little bit. And I keep on coming down, and I lose 6 pounds. Some of that is fat. That's what I wanted to get rid of. And I lose 3 pounds of fat. But at the same time, I'm also losing lean body mass, mostly muscle. So I lose, we'll say here, muscle. But do we lose some other things as well? And I lose 3 pounds of that. And voila, beautiful, I've lost 10 pounds. I can go back to eating like I ate before. Only now I have a real problem. When I went on this diet, my brain said, watch out, you're starving. Slow down the basal metabolic rate. We've got to conserve resources. So my basal metabolic rate drops. So when I'm sitting around, I'm burning off less calories. In addition to this, I have less muscle to burn off energy. So I've got my dropped basal metabolic rate, I have less muscle, and I go back to eating. Tastes good again after being off for a while, but you know what? I have to eat even less than I did before. And I go around hungry all the time. And pretty soon I don't like going around hungry all the time, and I start to put on weight. And I put it on, you see, and my basal metabolic rate is low, and I get fat again without eating too much, and then I go on another diet, and I lose more muscle, and my basal metabolic rate is down, and every time I go, the next time I have to eat less and less until some people can actually stay stable or lose weight on 900 to 1,000 calories a day, which is basically a starvation diet. No wonder they go back and get fat. That's the problem. So, now that I've lost my smoking habit and I want to look svelte, what can I do? Well, there is a way. And here is the clue. You'll never guess. Exercise. That is the principle of weight control, the main principle of weight control. Because as I exercise, what do I burn off? I burn off calories. Not only that, but I kick up my basal metabolic rate. Not only that, I build some muscle. Now that presents somewhat of a problem, because I may step on the scale And notice that I haven't lost much weight, but my belt seems to be getting tighter. My dress size is dropping because muscle is heavier than fat. You understand what I'm saying? So it's possible for a person to be nice and fit and trim, but not weigh like a feather because they are solidly and firmly built. They got rid of the flab. Do you know what I'm saying? Some of these football players, you know, that weigh 300 pounds, most of that may well be muscle, you see. And they can be perfectly fit. They're not, many of them are not very fat. So this is the principle here. Number one, I lose calories. And calories represent fat or whatever else. I lose calories. I increase my basal metabolic rate so that probably while I'm sitting at my desk, I will actually burn off more calories from my increased basal, try that again, my increased basal metabolic rate during the day than I actually burned off in my exercise during the morning. So the benefits persist for 8 to 24 hours even after my exercise is done. So let me recommend to you getting yourself on a good exercise program. There is nothing that I would rather see you do than to get on an exercise program once this program is through. Exercise is a great tranquilizer. And if you're a little nervous and whatnot about being off your cigarettes, and you get out and have a good period of exercise every day, it's going to put those beta endorphins out of your brain, and you're going to feel comfortable with yourself. You're going to feel good. But in addition to that, you'll be burning off the few extra calories that you're sticking in your mouth because food tastes so good. All right? Exercise, how important that is. Now, I don't believe anybody should get on a diet. Oh, I should put here that you get a little bit of increased muscle. So don't ever throw your scale away, huh? Throw your scale away and take yourself out of tape. Measure yourself around here and maybe around your thighs. But forget what the scale says, because if you're on a good exercise program, you'll be trimming up, you'll be looking good. Everyone will say you're losing weight, and you say, oh, I haven't really lost much weight. Who cares? You want to look good, and you want to feel good. Isn't that it? And exercise will provide that for you. All right. Now, I don't recommend that anybody goes on a diet that they can't live on for the rest of their life. I would rather see people, if they need to lose weight, get on an exercise program, maybe make some dietary changes, but lose a ½ pound a month. Did you ever stop to think if you did that for a year, how much you'd lose during the year? 6 pounds. You did that for 3 years? 18 pounds. How did you put it on in general? You know, we put these 20 pounds on over a 40, 30-year period, and we want to lose it in 30 days. Do you think that makes sense from a physiological point of view? No. I'd like to see you lose it slowly. It's much more likely to stay off. Now, you know as well as I know that you can't stay miserable for a prolonged period of time. That's why I tell people, and my patients, as I deal with them about their smoking habit. They say, Doc, oh, I'm only having 1 or 2 cigarettes. And I tell them, I know a lady and she's only a little bit pregnant. Because, you see, I know that no one can stay on 1 or 2 cigarettes that had an established smoking habit for a long period of time. Oh, yes, you know some people like that. And everybody thinks they can simulate them, but those people never were confirmed smokers. They are always piddly-diddling with the habit, 1 or 2 cigarettes a day. No one ever went from 3 packs a day to 3 cigarettes a day and stayed there. It hasn't happened yet. I haven't seen it, and I've been looking for it. Some people made it work for a month or 2. They were miserable the whole month or 2, and then they went right back to smoking what they were doing before. You can't be a part-time smoker, and you can't be a part-time eater. You can't go around hungry for long. Sooner or later, you're going to say nuts to it and go back to eating like you ate, eating like you ate before. Do you believe that? Yeah, you won't be miserable. That's what's the problem with the diet. Standard diets. So what should you do? Well, you should eat food that'll fill you up. And when you leave the table, you shouldn't go away hungry. Now, how do you do that? Well, I'll tell you how you do it. You eat food that'll fill you up. Now, the problem with the American diet is that very few of us eat food anymore like the good Lord put it here. You go to your store and you look, and 90% of the stuff on the shelves is not really food, it's manufactured chemistry. You just read the package, and half the time you can't understand it. Have you ever tried reading those ingredients? I mean, they make creamers that never saw a cow. Yeah, you know, I mean, and they got stabilizers and balancers and things to make it stay on the shelf for 6 months without going rancid. And it just isn't food. But the problem is that as Americans, by and large, we have developed tastes for junk food. We have developed tastes for junk food. What is junk food? Well, junk food basically is refined food. And the 2 main ingredients that the manufacturers like to put in food to make it taste good is sugar, salt too, but I'm talking about calories now, and fat. You just stop to think about all those things that you think real good about and tell me if they're not loaded with sugar and fat. Have you heard of ice cream? Brownies, fudge bars, Dove bars, chocolate-covered nuts, you name it. And most of the things that we really kind of salivate over are loaded with sugar and fats. And we have developed tastes for those foods. Now, when I eat all these high-sugar, let's say we're talking about breakfast cereals, do you know there's some cereals out there on the market that actually have more sugar than grain in them? And do you know that the food manufacturing industry is out to fool you? And you know how they try to do it with sugars? Yes, you're exactly right. Most people know that the ingredients have to be on the package according to the largest first and then on down. And they don't want to put sugar first. So what do? We have corn syrup, solids, dextrose, glucose, fructose, maltose, maybe even some sucrose. And when you get done, you can have 75% sugar and have something else up front. They want you to think it's good, and they want to also fool you. I'm sorry, excuse me, that the food industry is doing it, but it is doing it. How much bulk is there in sugar? Fiber? None. How much minerals? None. How much vitamins? None. And yet many of us get a great deal of our energy from refined sugar. And you can put that food with that sugar in your stomach and walk away hungry because there's basically no space filled. Do you understand what I'm saying? You got a ton of calories, but you're still hungry. Same way with fats. We eat a lot of fat. Fats have nearly, they have more than twice as many calories per weight as sugar. Did you know that? Carbohydrate is 4 calories per gram, and fats are 9 calories per gram. And we eat all kinds of refined fats. Now, what am I suggesting to you? I'm suggesting that you think about what you're eating and try to get back to eating largely food like it comes from the earth or the tree or the plant. Because if you do that and you don't load it down with sugar and fat, you can eat and eat and eat and eat and not get fat. And you can walk away from the table feeling quite comfortable. Let's just take bread. Have you heard of Wonder Bread? You know why they call it Wonder Bread? Because you squeeze it and you wonder where it went. I mean, it practically fills nothing. But every slice is probably good. I got to be careful because I saw my daughter walk in. She's a dietitian. But probably around 70 calories, you see. Then we put 100 calories of butter on it. And we got 170 calories. And you can eat 3 or 4 slices of that, right? And what comes out? Man, comes out here. Because you see, you don't get very full. Now, I guarantee you, if you start with a good, solid piece of whole grain bread, you won't eat 3 or 4 slices. You know that? And that one slice of bread will not have any more calories than that Wonder Bread. So I eat a good slice. My wife got for Christmas, the kids gave her one of those bread makers, you know. And you just dump the stuff in, and hey, she's got it down to about 100% whole wheat now, and I had one of those slices along with my lentil soup for supper tonight, and you know what? That fills you up. That stuff is heavy. Not only that, when you chew it, it's delicious. It's nutty. It's flavorful. Oh, you say, well, I don't like it. Aha. Listen to me now, because I'm going to give you a principle that if you take to heart, it will solve your eating problem. Are you ready? I'm only going to share it with you now. You won't tell anybody else, right? Listen to it. We don't eat what we like. We like what we eat. Now, I'm going to drive by that one again. We don't eat what we like as much as we like what we eat. Now, you say, explain that to me. Why do the Chinese like Chinese food? Because they eat it. You got it. Why do the Mexicans like Mexican food? Because they eat it. Why do the Americans like junk food? Because you eat it. You've got the point. And if you keep eating it, you like it, whether it's good for you or bad for you. Are you listening? This is a very important principle for diet change. Okay? I have a son-in-law who thinks mashed potatoes are only good if they come out of one of these boxes. I mean, you might as well eat cardboard, from my point of view. But if you take and cook up a good potato and smash it, you know, he thinks, man, that's a funny tasting potato. You know why? Because his mother fed him potatoes out of cardboard boxes. And if you eat potatoes out of cardboard boxes taste better than real potatoes. But if you quit eating potatoes out of cardboard boxes and you start eating real potatoes, pretty soon the real potatoes are going to taste better than the potatoes out of cardboard boxes. If you're a white bread eater and you put that stuff aside and quit eating it for a month or two, I guarantee you'll never go back to cotton balls again. Serious. It won't happen. I've proved this to myself. I told you the other night that I was a mission surgeon in Pakistan. Now, what I didn't share with you was that I'm also a vegetarian. And when we got to Pakistan, and I looked at the cows, I was glad I was a vegetarian. But I found out in the summer there was only 2 vegetables that were economically purchased: eggplant and okra. And those were the only 2 vegetables that I didn't like. Fact is, these were nose-holding kind of vegetables. So I told my wife, honey, I think we're going to learn to like eggplant and okra. And she brought it home, and she tried to fix it. And it tasted terrible. And I gagged, and I held my nose, and I ate it. And I kept eating it, along with a few other expensive things like tomatoes and whatnot that you could buy there. But eggplant and okra was a non-food, you know. There was another problem I had when I got to Pakistan. I didn't like Indian food, curry. That was bad smelling and bad looking. And people kept inviting us over to their house. You know, here's the new American doctor, come on over, we'll make you a good Indian dinner. So you go over there and they give you this Indian food and they say, how is it? You say, good. Well, let me give you some more. You lie just a little bit because you don't want to hurt their feelings, and you keep eating it. And after a year or so, it begins to taste better. And even the eggplant and okra isn't bad anymore. And I can tell you now, if I go down to Greek town and I look for a meal, I look on there, I wonder if they got any eggplant or okra. Because now it's delicious. Now, believe me, if you can make eggplant or okra delicious by eating it, I'm sure you can make that principle apply to anything else. And if I go to one of the major cities for a medical meeting, you know, I can smell an Indian restaurant and my nose starts to twitch. And I want to go in there and get some curry and some chapatis. I thought those were tasteless things when I first tried them, but you know, they're really good. If you what? If you eat them, not like them. If you eat them, you will like them, okay? So, you're used to eating junk food. Now's a good time to start thinking about a good whole grain breakfast. I talked to you about the other program. You remember that? Yeah, oatmeal, Red River cereal, whole grain Ralston. Well, I made one the other day with cracked wheat and oats, mixed them up, put a few raisins in that thing. Ooh, it was delicious. And then eat it with a grapefruit or an orange. You know that you'll get less calories that way than you will drinking the orange juice and drinking the grape juice. You see, if we get back to eating the food again, like it comes, you can eat and eat and eat and enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it. And everything will taste pretty good. Let's talk about this fat here. Do you like corn on the cob? Yeah. I don't know. How many calories in a corn on the cob without the fat on it? Where's my sis here? 100 maybe? 70? Anybody know? How many calories corn on the cob, sis? Okay. I'll take hers because she's in this business all the time. So somewhere in that neighborhood. All right? But you know what we do with the corn on the cob? We take it and we squeeze the fat out of it, and you know what we make? Corn oil. Have you heard of that? Yeah, good. Goes into your mayonnaise, goes into this, that, and the other thing. How many ears of corn do you think you could eat? 3, 4, 1, 2, whatever. Not too many, right? You'd be full, wouldn't you? Okay, but you know what we do? Each tablespoon of corn oil, 1 tablespoon corn oil, is all the fat from 14 ears of corn. So you take a couple of tablespoons of corn oil, you put it on your salad in the way of dressing or whatever, And you see what you've done? You've had all the fat from 28 ears of corn. Do you see why it's easy to get fat when we're eating refined products? Let's take a look at something else, just for the fun of it, so you'll see the point that I'm making here. Time goes slipping away when you're having fun, doesn't it? Okay. Let's take a crisp, succulent Michigan apple. You like it? Well, I know this must be somewhere around 80 or 100 calories, okay? 80 calories. How many of those could you eat for dessert? One. Somebody says two. Depends how big it is. You'd be full, right? But let's make apple juice out of it, right? Now we squeeze all the juice out and we can drink down 2 or 3 or 4 apples, just leaving the fiber behind. Now there's nothing the matter with apple juice, don't misunderstand me, but you notice what I'm talking about here? When we start to get away from the food like it comes, it's easy to pour on the calories. Well, let's make apple sauce. Now what do we add to it? Yeah, we add a little sugar, and to get the same fullness, you see, we probably going to get 150 calories over here that we would have got from one apple. And all we've done is added sugar to it. No nutrition, just calories, okay? Oh, phooey. Let's have apple pie. And now to get the same fullness that I would have had from my one apple, I'll have one piece of apple pie, which is probably good for about 350 calories, huh? And I won't be any fuller when I get done than I was up here with my apple. But somebody wants to go broke. He wants to go for the apple pie a la mode. Oh, yeah. And now you see we're good for 500 plus to 600 calories, and I'll be no fuller than if I had my apple. Now, does that mean you can't have apple pie a la mode for your birthday? No. But it's what you have every day for lunch that makes a difference how your tummy looks when you go out to lunch. Are you getting the point that I'm making here? So if we go back to the food, we start eating food. If we buy our groceries in Joe's produce, instead of getting that stuff in those little boxes, and we cook that stuff up and eat it, we can be full, comfortable, and trim. So if we add a few dietary changes, just start to think when you're planning dinner or something like that, what am I going to have tonight? I think I'll make food. And you say, that sounds kind of boring. That sounds like an old farmer meal or something like that. I don't want to eat that. You know what? Eat it. And you know what? You'll like it. And you keep eating it, and it'll keep tasting better and better and better. I'll be honest with you, I used to like donuts and sugar rolls. You know those things? Now, I should tell you that I work around hospitals, and the detail men, the drug salesmen and the surgical salesmen, you know what they're always doing? They're always dumping the table full of sugar donuts, jelly rolls, all of that stuff. And I must tell you the truth that it doesn't even tempt me anymore, basically because I quit eating it. I don't feel persecuted at all. I feel sorry for people that consume that icky, sweet, greasy stuff. Because I've trained my head. Now, if I was starving, I'd go get one. Now.